Judgment day for the Martinator as Jorge Martin has match point #1 to be #1 in the 2024 MotoGP World Championship. Just a third Ducati World Champion could be crowned at the Sepang International Circuit. That's been the setting for the conclusion of 15 world titles near Kuala Lumpur. The biggest prize on two wheels is on the line next live. It's time to race in MotoGP. So, first opened 25 years ago now, back in 1999, one of the most popular motorsport venues in the world, the Sepang International Circuit, 5.54 kilometres in length, 3.44 miles, 15 corners, 10 right, 5 of them left. A very fast, technical, flowing layout, very physically demanding as well, particularly with current ambient conditions of around 35 degrees. A long run down to a heavy braking zone for turn 1. Good overtaking hot spot into turn 4, likewise turn 9. Turn 9, the big talking point of yesterday's Tissot sprint as Pecco Bagnaia crashed out of second place, which brings Jorge Martin to the brink of title glory in 2024. Turn 15 is the toughest test for Michelin here in Sepang. Overtaking hot spots, plenty of them. Turn 1, turn 4, turn 9, 14 and 15. And this was a move Jorge Martin made against Pecco Bagnaia last year. Are they going to face off again today? Coming up next then in MotoGP, Pecco Bagnaia's iron grip on the MotoGP crown is loosening. The world champion needs a magic Malaysia display to stay in the hunt. Jorge Martin holds all the aces as Sepang's sprint success inches him closer to title glory. Under pressure, and now the underdog, Bagnaia's quest for 3 titles on the spin could end in Kuala Lumpur. And 6 years after winning the Moto3 title in Malaysia, it's match point for Martin to master MotoGP in 2024. So rewind 24 hours after a thrilling showdown between Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin, a record-breaking qualifying session here in Sepang. It was lights out for the 10-lap sprint, and straight at the front of the action was world championship leader Jorge Martin. How decisive could this moment prove to be in the final reckoning as Pecco Bagnaia suffered his 8th DNF of a championship of mistakes, as he described it? Is that the final blow for Bagnaia in his hopes of retaining the MotoGP World Championship? Because that mistake and the subsequent brilliant victory for Jorge Martin, his 16th sprint success, sees the Spanish rider on the brink of history. Jorge Martin can be crowned MotoGP World Champion in what, less than 90 minutes time. A lifetime's work on the line for the 26-year-old as Pecco Bagnaia clings on to faint hopes now of the three-peat. World champion in 2022 and in 2023, but it's looking unlikely that he will be champion in 2024. Is he about to lose the rematch? The clash of the titans here in Kuala Lumpur. Our countdown begins. It'll be lights out for race action over 20 laps in our feature Grand Prix of Malaysia. And it could be a 20 laps that will see Jorge Martin win the biggest prize in motorcycle racing. He was so close at this stage 12 months ago before he suffered final round heartache at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. But the roles are reversed in 2024. And here at the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia, Jorge Martin knows this could be the day. A day that he has worked tirelessly for throughout his entire life. All the blood, sweat and tears shed are all for this moment, all for this day. As he woke up this morning in Malaysia, knowing full well that he could be heading back to Europe tonight with his name on the Tower of Champions. What a day in prospect then, not just for Martin, but for Prima Pramac Ducati as well, as they could be the first independent team to win the MotoGP World Championship. Tense scenes, nervous scenes, which we have seen throughout this 5-race overseas tour. Well, now the stakes and the pressure just about as high as the ambient temperatures here in Malaysia. It is a scorcher. 34 degrees the ambient temperature, track temperature getting close to 60 degrees. It is hot, hot, hot. Who can keep their cool in the high pressure situations? As Ducati boss Davide Tardozzi has a chat with Marco Melandri, of course, a former 250cc world champion and MotoGP race winner. But it's all on the line. Is the title to be decided here today in Malaysia? Matt Burton-Lewis still to be in the commentary box. Simon Crafar down in pit lane. Lewis, here we go. Jorge Martin has put himself in a phenomenal position to be crowned world champion, if not today, but in our final round of 2024. 29 podiums, 29 points clear. A big ask now for Bagnaia to retain the title.
Surely it's win or bust for Pecco Bagnaia now. It was win or bust, you felt, coming into this weekend anyway, but after the crash in the sprint yesterday, he is now at the point of no return. The crown, which has been on his head for the last couple of MotoGP seasons, might well be handed over to Ducati's outgoing star, Jorge Martin, who may take the #1 out of the door with him to put on an Aprilia next season. So many subplots to this World Championship battle, but the simplicity of it all today is, if Jorge Martin scores 9 more points than Pecco Bagnaia, he's world champion today. That means if he wins, Bagnaia must finish second.
Yeah, it's the sky-high DNF count which has really done for Pecco Bagnaia. That 8th DNF in the sprint yesterday, he said himself, an air of resignation around the factory Ducati camp here yesterday. Almost mission impossible, still mathematically in with a chance of becoming just the 10th rider in history to win 3 successive Premier Class titles. But by his own admission, Bagnaia said he feels like yesterday's DNF at turn 9 in that 10-lap sprint was the final hammer blow to his championship hopes. Vamos Jorge, well, they've already called it, those fans in the main grandstands. Martin 89, 2024 champion. Will he be our latest Campione del Mundo, the world champion in MotoGP? Gigi Dall'Igna pacing around that Ducati garage, almost wearing out the carpet on the floor, isn't he, inside the Bologna garage. But this will go down potentially as the defining moment of the season in yesterday's sprint.
Yeah, there have been a few of them, as you say, for Pecco Bagnaia. 8 non-scores in total, but this, you feel, was one mistake too many. He'd already lost the lead at the start to Jorge Martin, which I think certainly played a part. That was a crucial moment as Martin was able to seize track position at the start of the 10-lap sprint yesterday. But no sooner had that happened than Pecco Bagnaia was out of the action altogether. One thing you can say, though, about the reigning world champion, if we look ahead to today's race, is that of the 4 previous sprint DNFs that Pecco Bagnaia has had this year, he's come back to finish on the podium on the Sunday on each of those 4 occasions, including twice he's gone on to win on the Sunday. So he's very good at bouncing back from setbacks, but surely he's not as big a setback as that.
And this was the walk of shame, the long, long walk back to the factory Ducati garage, where I think they all realised maybe now it is just a bridge too far for Pecco Bagnaia to retain the World Championship. Just look already, well, we're 35 minutes and a little bit more away from lights out for this potentially pivotal Petronas Grand Prix Malaysia, and a big exhale of breath from Paolo Campinotti, boss of Prima Pramac Ducati, who, it's fair to say, on occasion off track this season has butted heads with some Ducati management. Of course, Jorge Martin full of motivation to prove Ducati wrong. He was burned, wasn't he, in that Italian Grand Prix Mugello. Started that weekend thinking he got the seat, the prize seat alongside Bagnaia. covered off inside the factory Ducati garage before it went to Marc Marquez. He's been using that frustration as a big motivation in the second half of this season. This was the key moment. I've got to say, recent starts from Martin. He has outshone Bagnaia in that particular area, and that was crucial. That was key. Immediately able to set his own pace, set his own rhythm, not have any real concerns about front tyre temperature or front tyre pressure. To be fair, Bagnaia did not blame either of those factors for that spill at turn 9. He said he braked very hard, just released the throttle and caught a bump, which is so easy to do through that turn 9. It's very treacherous. One of the toughest corners actually on the whole Grand Prix calendar, as Martin eventually took the sprint victory. And they know inside that Prima Pramac Ducati garage how significant that could be.
It could be the first step in a dream weekend for Jorge Martin, which could end as the world champion. The family are here, his brother Javier on screen here. He's pacing up and down. He could barely keep still. We've already seen this morning in morning warm-up. Jorge's father looked particularly tense. The Pramac mechanics looking up at the sky. They're hoping that the clouds around us here in Sepang don't roll in and drop any rain on our heads, because that's the kind of uncertainty that they can really do without. If we get a straightforward, dry MotoGP race today, then Jorge Martin surely is in a very strong position. Maybe not to win the World Championship today. He needs 34 points over the final 2 races and the 1 remaining sprint. So it doesn't have to be today, but Jorge Martin can take another giant step closer.
Bagnaia just has one very simple mission, just to make sure that the Prosecco is on ice and Martin heading to our final showdown of 2024. Just a few dark clouds looming on the horizon to grab our attention, to keep us looking skywards for a little bit. Let's hope that there is no rain disruption and we do get a full dry 20-lap Grand Prix of Malaysia. A little bit of more last-minute fettling going on to Pecco Bagnaia's factory Ducati. Pecco's plan was very simple, he said to the media last night. He needs help, he needs some assistance from the likes of Marc Marquez on screens right now, from Enea Bastianini, 2023 Malaysian Grand Prix winner. Bagnaia's master plan surely has to be to get the whole shot, lead the field early on, and then potentially just disrupt the rhythm, hold up the pace and bring as many rivals as he can into contention, just to try and drag some points away from Jorge Martin, because it does look like, if all goes to plan, if it all plays out as we expect it possibly could do, then the best Bagnaia can really hope for is to claw back 5 points on Martin. They've been head and shoulders above the chasing pack, so as he mentioned yesterday, maybe some assistance required for Pecco here in Malaysia.
Yeah, because if he only gains 5 points, the lead would be 24 for Jorge Martin, which means if he wins the final sprint of the season, he's world champion on the final Saturday of 2024. So Jorge Martin knows it's all in his hands right now. He did say yesterday, once Pecco Bagnaia had crashed from behind him, there was a moment where he had a consideration of potentially just giving best to Marc Marquez and just taking some solid points, but he felt that the best way to maintain his concentration and avoid mistakes was to treat every lap as if it was a normal sprint lap, pushing to his maximum and going for the victory. He feels that if he does start to be conservative, that's when he gets more nervous. This, though, will be the ultimate test of that mantra for Martin.
The best form of defence is attack as far as Jorge Martin is concerned. He is a completely different beast in 2024. At this stage last year, he was locked in that fight with Bagnaia for the World Championship. He admitted himself that he crumbled. He buckled under the weight of expectation, the weight of pressure on his shoulders. Sleepless nights, what should have been a dream, fighting for the MotoGP World Championship, he said, turned into nothing short of an absolute nightmare. As we said, though, he has learned from the experience, the tough experience of last year. I remember in Valencia last year, the tears shed by Jorge Martin after he crashed out of contention and Bagnaia did win that second World Championship. So close now that he can almost touch that Tower of Champions. I saw Gino Borsoi, his boss, in the press room here last night in Sepang, and I just said, so close now, good luck tomorrow. And he said, yeah, we're so close, but it feels like we're so far away as well.
because it can all turn as quickly as it's turned in Martin's favour yesterday. All it takes is one mistake, a mistake that is very easy to make, as Bagnaia demonstrated. Martin scores nothing today and Bagnaia wins the race, then the gap is back down to 4 points once again. So very, very easy for those points to grow, but also very easy for them to disappear.
That fan there knows the score. That is what it takes for Jorge Martin to win the World Championship. Yeah, Jorge Martin on the left, plus 9 points, equals
Do you
the Tower
understand?
of Champions.
Yes, we do.
Brilliant, absolutely awesome. Well done, that Jorge Martin fan. Spent a lot of time and effort preparing that little graphic on the on his little tablet there.
I'm sure those numbers are ringing through Jorge Martin's head. I'm sure he doesn't need informing of the maths. We will, of course, keep you updated if it does become a title-winning scenario through the race as to what Jorge Martin needs. If Pecco Bagnaia does what he did yesterday and fails to score, then Jorge Martin can afford to finish as low as 7th. There are all sorts of different scenarios for the title to be won today. Pecco Bagnaia just needs to try and make sure, and that's the question, just send it to the final round and just put some more pressure on Jorge Martin.
You can cut the tension down in pit lane with a knife. I don't think I've ever seen, and I've been part of MotoGP for 30 years and seen some title deciders, but I don't know, this one just feels like the tension really has been cranked up. It has been ramped up, just as hot as the conditions here in Malaysia. Well, as we mentioned, Pecco Bagnaia just has one goal and one goal only. He has to win. It's been must-win territory for a couple of rounds now, but today is must-win for the reigning world champion if he is to take it to the final round in a couple of weeks' time. How's the heart rate? How's the feeling for Ducati boss Davide Tardozzi, who joins Simon? Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yeah, good afternoon. Davide, thank you for talking to us. Gino is a little bit nervous. He normally talks and he doesn't want to talk right now. I can't blame him. But we really would like to hear your thoughts. What's going through your head about the upcoming hours?
Nothing. I really hope that Pecco will fight for the win. Like I think that it will be other Ducatis, like for sure Jorge, Enea, Mark, and also Alex. I see very, very well also Alex Marquez. But in the end, I think that we have no other choice to try to win and keep open the championship with less point of differences possible. So we'll see. But again, we have no other chance that try to beat Jorge and win.
You have the full picture of what's going on over this long GP and this so far really high track temperature. Can you give us an idea what you're expecting tyre-wise? Fuel consumption, I heard, also is needs managing. Tell us what you think. Also, rider. I know what it's like. You know what it's like to ride in this condition. Brutal. Yeah,
35 degrees and this humidity. It will be really a big challenge for all the riders to finish the race in a good health way. But in the end, the tires will be difficult to manage. For sure, everybody will use the medium on the back because it's much more performing than the hard. But on the front, every rider is using the soft during the practice, but not so sure if everybody will do it on this race, because someone I think that will put the medium because will be more performing in the end of the race. But it depends on your riding style, and it depends how much you want to push in the beginning and trying to have an advantage in the end, having the medium on the front.
Last question for you is there is some doubters out there on what it's like, the effect, of the temperature of machines in front. And I would like you to tell them what happens if you follow close.
I think that with this temperature, be leading the race is a good advantage. While stay on the draft or other bikes, it will be for sure a problem for the front tire pressure. And I guess that everybody will try to stay out of the draft because otherwise the temperature goes mad.
Thank you, Davide. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. Thanks to Davide Tardozzi. Good of Davide to come and talk to us. And like Simon said, totally understandable why Gino Sawyers politely declined. He very seldom does. He very, very rarely comes or refuses to talk to either Jack or Simon down in pit lane. But as you can understand, It's a massive day for Jorge Martin, a monumental day for Jorge Martin, but also those closely connected to the number 89. They go through all the range of emotions with the rider, through thick and thin, through good and bad. So they are also going to be experiencing an almighty amount of tension. It's almost like for the riders, when the visor goes down, the lights go out, well then they're controlling their own destiny. It's those that are watching trackside are the ones that really get put through the mill. The Martin family are here to see if Jorge can get the job done here today. There's another former MotoGP world champion, factory Yamaha star Fabio Quartararo exiting pit lane. Just a little chat about Quartararo because he was sensational in the sprint yesterday. 5th place on that factory Yamaha, less than 8 seconds away from Jorge Martin. A standing job by Quartararo, who well, equalled his season best finish with a 5th place in the sprint a long time ago, a Spanish Grand Prix in Jerez.
He starts from 8th on the grid. Both of the factory Yamahas line up on the 3rd row, having a very good weekend, both making their way automatically into qualifying 2, the first time that has happened since round 2 in Portimao. You feel they are going to be in the middle of a busy battle for best of the rest behind what we expect to be the top 4, the 4 who've been dominating most of the podiums and most of the top steps in 2024. Bagnaia, Martin, Marc Marquez and Enea Bastianini, 2 of them on the front row, 2 of them on the 2nd row. Alex Marquez and Frankie Morbidelli starting in between them, 3rd and 4th respectively, expecting a huge battle for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th backwards, involving the likes of Marquez, Morbidelli, Quartararo and the KTMs as well, 3 of which scored points in the sprint yesterday.
So the drone camera splits the 2 main grandstands here in Sepang. They hold 32,000 fans and plenty of those seats have been filled here today in Malaysia. We have just been told there was a Sunday crowd here of just shy of 90,000 fans. Phenomenal support once again here in Asia. A weekend crowd of nearly 185,000 are the near 90,000 who are in the gates today, about to witness the crowning of a new MotoGP world champion. 9 points is what Jorge Martin needs to get the job done here today. Yesterday, he followed Andrea Iannone around on the sighting lap, didn't he, on a tyre or fuel conservation mode. And this time around, he's just slotted in behind fellow Spaniard Raul Fernandez.
Looking for every last marginal gain, shows that Jorge Martin still very much got his mind on the job. He's not allowing anything to distract him from the job at hand. It is such a mental challenge as much as a physical challenge, and a challenge of your ability to win a world championship such as this. This is round 19 of the season, our 19th race in addition to 19 sprints. Of course, we've seen mistakes, we've seen victories, we've seen head-to-head battles between Bagnaia and Martin. We saw an incredible head-to-head between the 2 of them yesterday morning in qualifying, just underlining why they are the 2 very best in MotoGP in 2024. But there can be only one champion. The number 1 at the moment is on the front of Pecco Bagnaia's factory Ducati, but will it be there for very much longer?
Some special cultural dancing on the grid. Who's going to be calling the tune here this afternoon in Sepang? Jorge Martin then comes to the grid for the showdown, for the biggest Grand Prix of his life. He has a sound here. Now that Andrea Iannone, is there a bit of... Oh, this is...
Careful, Andrea.
Yeah. Just slotting in front of them on the sighting lap. Is that just Andrea Iannone? I think he might be just doing a bit of a favour there.
Getting behind me.
To Jorge Martin. Yeah, I'll give you some help, buddy, no problem. Now then, yesterday, Gresini Racing enjoyed a strong sprint. Marc Marquez, 2nd, 7th time this year Marquez has been runner-up in a sprint. Season best 4th on Super Saturday for Alex Marquez as well. It looks like they're going to be big podium contenders this afternoon. Let's get the thoughts of Gresini Racing boss Michele Massini, who's with Simon.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me, Michele. We're treated to some loud music down here. Michele, first, Alex traditionally goes really well. He hasn't disappointed this weekend so far. I've got to say, although Mark is impressed, many times in the past. Yesterday was fantastic. How he just fought those GP24s so well. I really would like you to tell us what you think is possible for both your riders today.
Yeah, I have to say that also this morning during the warm-up we try small things that went well. So I hope to make a great result with both riders. So it will be important, crucial as always, the start and try to keep behind some GP24.
Hey, good luck doing that.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much there to Michele Mazzini. Yeah, as he mentioned, a double top four yesterday for Gresini Racing. Now you just saw there then the grid graphic, and it made for very interesting reading, doesn't it? We know in the past he's had a bit of a penchant for a tyre gamble as Jorge Martin. Cast your minds back to what was ultimately decisive Phillip Island round last year. Now then, well, on the graphic initially, of course, this can change. We're still 20 minutes away from lights out. There's no tyres in Pecco Bagnaia's factory Ducati right now. The information that Michelin have been initially given by Ducati is Bagnaia is going for the soft front medium rear tyre. Will that change though? Interestingly, Jorge Martin, head of his first match points, the initial information from Prima Pramac Ducati is he's going for the medium front, medium rear tyre. Only one other rider. Initially, we must stress this, of course, can change over the course of the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. The only other rider opting for the medium front, medium rear with Martin was Luca Marini, although we are just being told that now, probably influenced by what are excessively hot conditions here in Sepang, Pecco Bagnaia has gone over to the medium front tyre. So in terms of tyre choice between our two title contenders, it's the exact same split. Let's get some thoughts about Red Bull KTM's prospects in this 20-lap Malaysian Grand Prix. Francesco Guidotti joins Simon.
He does. Great ride from Brad and Jack yesterday. Can you tell us what you're expecting today?
Yesterday was a good race, but yeah, everybody's stuck in the position after the first lap. Hopefully today we can recover some position at the first laps in the mess where our rider used to be very good. and let's see, it's a long race. The condition is very hot, and weather forecast is a little bit uncertain. So yeah, that could be interesting.
We've just heard some riders optioning for the medium front tyre. Your thoughts on that?
No, we had we tested it and we were not happy about that. So we stick on the yesterday tyre.
Last thing, tyres in general and rider condition over this long distance?
Oh, I think everybody will be struggling. So a little bit of managing at the first half, and then let's try to give the boost.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much to Francesco Guidotti. Thanks, Simon. Best KTM yesterday was Brad Binder in 7th place. We've just seen there a very special prize-giving ceremony take place on the grid. Our top 3 riders from the Asia Talent Cup. Congratulations to Zen Mitani, the ATC champion for this year. Of course, that system, the Asia Talent Cup, part of the Road to MotoGP programme, has created this year its first Grand Prix world champion after Ayagura won the Moto2 title 7 days ago in Buriram.
So much tension then on this grid. Jorge Martin then has the initial information is he's gone for that medium front tyre. I've just seen out of our commentary box window a Pramac technician running out to fit a new rear tyre. One would assume they're just switching an old rear tyre that he went to the grid with for a brand new one. Interesting information though, Martin was the only rider in the warm-up this morning who ran the medium front tyre, so perhaps he was running that with a view to potentially running it in the race this afternoon. And our initial information with 15 minutes to go before lights out is that is exactly what Jorge Martin is doing.
Brilliant performance by a local marching band. The big question is, will Jorge Martin march to MotoGP world title glory? There was confirmation then. Pecco Bagnaia has gone for the medium front tyre. You do feel that is a decision based entirely on the fact that we have our hottest conditions of the weekend so far. We're sort of all nice and cool in our air-conditioned commentary box, but for those on the grid, in the grandstands and the riders in particular, there's some rather welcome cloud cover here, because if it was just baking hot heat, then it would be excruciating down there on the grid. Jorge Martin racing for Valencia, as so many of the paddock are here this weekend after the devastating floods that hit that beautiful part of southeast Spain. The factory Aprilia's, they've had another tough weekend in the hot conditions. One of the thoughts of the boss, Paolo Bonora, who's with Simon down on the grid.
He is, and he's always interesting to speak to, especially about the technical side. And I heard you just mention, you know, the heat on the grid, Matt. It's brutal. So hot, Paolo, the hottest I've felt all year. I'd like to hear about your riders, your possibilities, but also what this temperature does.
Yes, Simon, it's so hot. Probably it is the hottest day of the weekend. It will affect many things on the bikes, but on the rider as well. In particular with us, we tried something, but we have not fixed the problem on the rider heating. So we will see during the race, but for sure it is necessary to manage the front, because the front brake will affect by this hot temperature, the front tire, the rear tire as well, because most of the people, most of the rider will choose the softest option, and it is necessary to manage, because yes, it is the only usable tire here, but it is a long distance, and it is so hot. So will be very tricky for the rider, but also for the machine as well.
Just one other thing, I've heard a few people mention consumption here. Is that not a problem, or it is? Fuel consumption.
Yeah, fuel consumption. It is a part of the job. It's one of the most demanding track, and considering the slip that there will be during the race, that will increase the fuel consumption, it is necessary to manage.
Sorry, this is rear wheel spin.
Yes, the rear spin. So it is necessary to manage, because it is necessary to achieve the last part of the race with enough fuel to be possible to overtake somebody.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks, as always, to Aprilia boss Paolo Bonora. It was Aleix Espargaro that led their charge home yesterday in a lowly 12th place. Of course, we're winding down now towards the tail end of Aleix Espargaro's full-time racing career. Likewise, Taka Nakagami. Those two working in unison and tandem next year as official Honda test riders. So then, on what is probably the most stressful grid of the season so far, trying to keep themselves cool. Pecco Bagnaia's got the ice jacket on. Coming very late to the grid is the current world champion. We saw Jorge Martin seeking refuge at the back of the Pramac Ducati garage. He'll probably leave it as late as he possibly can. We have seen in the past Jorge Martin has suffered in excruciatingly hot conditions. Just cast your minds back to the inaugural Indian Grand Prix, 14 months ago now, last September, when that poor old Jorge actually collapsed in Parc Ferme and needed some rather urgent medical attention. He feels like he's fitter, stronger than he was at this stage last year.
It's much easier to manage your reserves of energy when you don't have so much stress on your mind, as Jorge Martin must have this afternoon. As you see, once again, his brother pacing so much, our cameraman can hardly keep up with him. There is so much tension. That gives you a firm idea of what is on the line here. If anything, the coolest man in Prima Prama right now might be Jorge Martin himself.
Oh, bless him. Bless older Javier Martin. He can barely cope with the tension. He knows, he has seen his older brother work so hard to put himself into this position. There is the big ice pack wrapped around Martin's neck. Bagnaia then is coming to pole position. He's for pole in the last 7 Grand Prix. Must win time for Bagnaia. It is now or never for the reigning world champion, and that is just to make sure that he's still holding the championship with 1 race remaining. Martin then now, once again, just getting himself in the zone, getting himself focused, as we pause now for the national anthem. Well, it's just coming back in about a minute's time, isn't the anthem? We'll just
even worth
look at the crowd. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I've got sweaty palms. I can sort of, my knees and my feet and my legs are trembling, and I'm not in this battle. Ahoy Martin then gets a kiss from his girlfriend, who delivered a beautiful handwritten message to Jorge about what it's like to be by his side, what it's like to see him inch closer to his ultimate dream, the lifelong goal of being MotoGP world champion. Finally, we've been able to coax Jorge out of the Pramac Ducati garage. He is coming to the grid for what potentially is his date with destiny. A little fist bump there from Pramac Ducati boss Paolo Campinotti, as we will now pause for the national anthem of Malaysia. A beautiful rendition of the Malaysian national anthem by Ella, who's getting a wonderful reception from the Malaysian crowd here. Absolutely wonderful, isn't it, to see the packed grandstands. Fabio Quartararo fans are out in force. One of our Tyler contenders has swapped over late on to the soft front tyre. Just wonder whether there's just a little bit of kidology. Yeah, Bagnaia then has now gone back to the soft front. Are there just a little bit of mind games at play here? You've got to, well, use every trick in the book, haven't you, when you're in Pecco Bagnaia's position. 5th place in the sprint yesterday, one of the stars of the 10-lapper in Sepang. Flying the flag once again quite brilliantly for the factory Yamaha team was Fabio Quartararo. Let's get the thoughts of a possible top 6 repeat from the Frenchman. Simon is with the boss, Mario Meregali.
I am, and well impressed everyone was with Fabio's ride yesterday. What about you, and what about today?
Yeah, we were impressed and also happy. We were not happy how we ended up the last GP, because we thought that the race could ended up in a different way. And here basically we started well from the first session. We have both riders in third row, both in Q2, and for sure this is the best weekend from a long time. And the race that he was able to do yesterday was very, very good. Today it's very difficult to predict, because 20 laps under this hot, extremely hot condition, it will be very tough physically. It will be very tough also to be able to manage the drop of the tire. This morning we worked on that, but we expect that the lap by lap, the lap time will drop, and for me, who will be able to manage in the best way will have some. It will be payoff.
Thank you for that, Davide.
Thank you.
Thanks very much to Mario Meregali. Thanks as always to Simon. Yeah, can Fabio Quartararo get himself inside that top 6? Once again, there has not been a Japanese motorcycle finish inside the top 6 in a Sunday Grand Prix since Marc Marquez over a year ago in the Thai Grand Prix in Buriram. Speaking of the 8 times world champion, there he is on screens. Marc, I came from Spain for you. Show me the 4th. Well, will the 4th be with Marc Marquez in this Grand Prix of Malaysia? Forza Valencia. Sentiments echoed by the entire tight-knit MotoGP community. Of course, it was supposed to be potentially a title decider, as always, at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. That not possible, as the relief effort is focused, the efforts of the entire city concentrated on getting the city back to some semblance of normality as quickly as possible after the devastating floods that struck earlier on this week. Of course, I'm sure you've seen some of the news headlines that have been breaking here in Sepang. It is the plan, it is the intention to have a 20th round of the MotoGP World Championship at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, on the same weekend as our planned visit to the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. In the meantime, once again, we send all of our strength and prayers to those affected by those floods in Valencia.
Here is your leading KTM on the grid. Jack Miller starts 7th. There was a incredible battle again yesterday between the KTMs for the honour of Top Tier Mobility Group bike between Binder, Miller and Acosta. In the end, that battle was won by Brad Binder, who finished in 7th place. We have the hashtag the rematch at the bottom of your screens. Well, it was a rematch between Jack Miller and Pedro Acosta yesterday in their battle for 8th place. This one was won by Miller.
This is it then now. No more time for excuses. Time to shine. Time to maybe sprinkle some magic here in the Malaysian Grand Prix. Jorge Martin then now. Just getting some late signs of encouragement from the team. Is he going to go? Well, Lewis has got the Michelin tyre sheet. Where are we looking? Is he going for the medium front, medium rear, Lewis?
3 riders in the field have gone that route. All bar 3 have gone for the soft front, medium rear. The 3 who've gone for the medium front, Jack Miller, Luca Marini, and your World Championship leader, Jorge Martin.
He is not scared, is he, to take a risk in high-pressure situations. The only rider on the front row, one of only 3 riders in the entire field here in Sepang that has gone for that medium front tyre. Jorge Martin then going from 2nd place on the grid, ahead of the biggest race of his life. But it's Pecco Bagnaia trying to keep his title hopes alive from pole position in Sepang.